Hello, everyone. I am Kentia Smith. I am the NC Realtors Housing Foundation Director. I hope you're doing well. As you know, this is a series that we're doing called Meet Our 2024. What is Meet Our 2024? This is where I, the NC Realtors Housing Foundation, get to know our new incoming 2024 local association presidents. This is to learn about their membership, their community, as well as educate them on the foundation. Today, I have the honor of interviewing the 2024 president for Raleigh Regional Association of Realtors. That's a tongue twister. Or as they like to say, RRAR, Mr. Tim McBrayer. Tim, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. I am truly appreciative of it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it because everyone's gonna know it anyways, that Tim is also one of our directors for the NC Realtors Housing Foundation. So Tim, thank you so much for doing this interview. I really appreciate it.
Glad to help out.
Awesome. So, Tim, the first question I always ask is, are you a native of NC or did you move here as a child, young adult?
I am not a native. I moved to Charlotte in 1977, lived there for 8 years, then moved out of North Carolina, came back in 1992, and have lived here in Raleigh ever since. So about 39 years of my life, I have been living here. More than half my life, I've lived in North Carolina, and I love living here. It's a great place.
So not a native, but definitely a native because I've been here so long. So awesome. So
That's right.
when it comes to being in real estate, was this your first career choice, or did you have another like professional outlet you thought you would pursue?
Well, I actually was working in Charlotte in television advertising. I was an account executive for WSOC TV in Charlotte, which was then and still is owned by Cox Broadcasting. And I was in that industry as either an account executive, a sales manager, or a marketing consultant for over 20 years. And I spent other years in other types of advertising, print and radio. And I did some other things along the way, but that's most of my professional career prior to becoming a realtor. I decided in 81, when I bought my first house in Charlotte, to get my license. And the license number they gave me back in 1981 is still my license number today. It's one of those 5-digit numbers, which not a whole lot of people have. Most people that got their license back then are probably retired by now, but I'm still working. I'll be 71 in January, and I love doing what I do. And so for me, it was a matter of, once I decided I wanted to leave corporate America, what did I want to do that I thought I could give something back to people, help people, and be able to see the results of my help. In advertising, it's often hard to know whether or not the television schedule or print schedule you sold some advertiser actually helped them grow their business. But you know when you've helped someone buy a home or sell a home or invest in some property. So in 2007, I left corporate America and went back to pre-licensing and post-licensing, had to do all that again. Of course, in 81, there wasn't post-licensing, and you could go extra hours and actually become a broker. There's no provisional licensing back in 1981, but I did that in 2007, and I joined, actually started in 2006, but I joined Coldwell Banker Howard Perry in Boston in May of 2007, and I have been there ever since. In 2009, I joined the Jim Allen Group, which is a team at Coldwell Banker Howard Perry in Boston. And I just love real estate. I love helping people with important decisions. One of the most expensive and important decisions they'll ever make is buying or selling a home. And I appreciate the opportunity to help them go through that process.
I have a question. Are the numbers now for real estate license longer than 5 numbers?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if there's 7. I know that there are at least 6. But, you know, a funny story, when I went through my second round of classes and took my exam a second time, before I was even taking the exam or had the results of the exam, I got a letter saying, congratulations on becoming a realtor. And there was my certificate, my license, and I hadn't even taken the exam yet. And it was the same license number. So I had to call up the real estate commission say, I think you're a little early. I think I'll pass my exam the second time, which I did. But you sent this to me a little soon. So I sent it back. And they eventually, you know, after I took my exam, they sent it to me again. And it was indeed the same number that I had in 1981. So I've had that number for a long time, longer than Jim Allen, longer than my broker in charge, Susan Holbrook, people that have been in the business longer than I have, but they haven't had their license as long as I have. But they've certainly practiced real estate longer than me. But the 16 years I've been in the business, I've really loved, really have.
So I guess this question you will definitely have an answer for. How did you get to the point of saying, hey, I think I'm a run or be nominated to be the president of RARR?
Well, back in 2012, a couple of members of RAR had approached me and said that, you know, I ought to consider getting involved with the association. And I've always been interested in politics. And so they said, why don't you get on the government affairs committee? And so I joined that committee. And then a couple of years later, I became vice chair when Mark Parker, a past president of RAR and an NC Realtors director, became the chair. But I got busy with my career, so I didn't move up to chair, but I stayed involved, did work on several different committees. I eventually became the president of what was then the Realtor Foundation of Wake County in 2018. And by then I had run for the board and been elected and then elected again. I was reelected twice. We served 2-year terms here in Raleigh. And so I served 6 years on the board. 1 year I was on the board as the Realtor Foundation president. And then I decided to run for office. I ran for secretary treasurer. Just like running for the board, I ran twice and lost. It wasn't until the third time that I got elected, and then I got reelected twice. So it took me a couple of times to run for secretary treasurer, but then I ran, and then I ran for president-elect unopposed. And now I'll be president in our 100th year as an association, 2024. It's really exciting.
Awesome. So I always ask the new presidents, what is some of the goals that you either want to continue or even you know, embrace new when it comes to being the president for RAAR over your presidency next year?
Well, as you know, and anyone watching this video knows, we are experiencing some very interesting and difficult times as an industry right now. And it's not only the lack of inventory and appreciating prices and higher interest rates than a lot of people can afford to finance a home purchase right now. It's everything else that's happening in our industry. And so I am anticipating that next year will be a very interesting year, exciting in some ways. The fact that it's our 100th year as an association is exciting. My theme for next year, and every president recently, at least at our association, has had a theme, and mine is going to be delivering exceptional ROI to our members. And to me, what that means is making sure that when our members invest their hard-earned money in being a member of RAR, that they get value for their investment. They get a high return on that investment, be it member services and professional development, all the ways that we reach out to our members and we offer ways for them to be better realtors for their clients and to learn about different aspects of our industry, whether it's global or it's DEI or any aspect of our business. You're going to find ways to learn more about that by being a member of our association. So I look forward next year to working with our board and our leadership team to make sure that we are delivering a high return on investment to our members. I don't take lightly the fact that our members want to get something for their money, like we all do. You buy a car, you want it to run. You buy a hamburger, you want it to taste good. You join RAR or any association, you want to believe that you're getting your money's worth when you do that. And the fact that we've raised our dues by $100 this coming year after not raising our dues at all for 21 years, that has been a tough nut for some to accept. But I think anyone who makes real estate as a career and I think most of our members do. I think they can afford it, number one. And I think that it's important for them to understand that we have an association where we have a responsibility as its leaders to make sure that we are spending the money wisely and that we're not going into a deficit situation. We've had excess reserves the last few years. COVID had an impact on that. A number of things did. And if we went over in spending, we had those excess reserves to take care of that. Well, now we don't. We've exhausted those reserves due to a lot of increasing cost and less revenue. And so we just have to manage our money wisely, just like any family does. You have to adjust your home budget if things change, and people are certainly having to do that now. And you have to look for other sources of revenue. And in our case, we're looking for other sources of revenue, but we still get most of our revenue from our members. That will always be the case. And we just want to make sure that our members know that we understand what we're asking them to do, and that we're going to do our very best to deliver a great return on their investment when they pay their dues.
I think that's so true. Like you said, if I invest in something, I just want to know my investment is worth it, regardless of what that is. And so I usually ask this question of directors, no, I'm sorry, presidents I've interviewed, just because I'm curious, but I know you can answer it. The question is usually, what do they know about the NC Realtors Housing Foundation? But you know about it. I would love to ask you then, how did you get involved with the NC Realtors Housing Foundation?
I have always been involved in helping people in need in my community. Before I even became a realtor, I was involved in doing various things to raise money for various causes. My wife and I have always donated to a number of causes. We believe strongly that we're blessed, and we need to pass some of our blessings on to those that are less fortunate. And so we try to do that. I think we always come up short. We could always do more. And so when I looked at an opportunity to serve on the Housing Foundation and be involved with making it possible for people to buy houses that maybe otherwise couldn't, to make it possible for our associations around the state to have grant money so that they can help other causes in their community by matching whatever they spent up to $4,000. I think that's a great program, and that's just one of the many ways that we help people. And of course, when there's a disaster, our Housing Foundation has been able to donate funds to help people, whether they're in North Carolina or other parts of the country, because those associations, when we have a tornado or we have a hurricane that hits our coast, those associations, those states give money to help us and the people in our state that are in need. So it's important for people to understand that the Housing Foundation does good work in many different ways. And so that was the draw to me. It was a way that I could get involved at the state level with our association. I served on the communications committee before it was renamed the Image Committee, and now it's changing its name back to communications. But I've been involved with DEI when it was called diversity. So I've been involved at the state level for a number of years, serving on different committees, legislative as well. But I guess you could say I get the most personal satisfaction from being involved with the Housing Foundation. And as you know, because we worked together for a few years, I'm fairly good at raising money.
Yes.
And
not fairly
if
good,
I have any superpower, maybe it's that. I'm not afraid to ask for people to donate to a worthy cause. You know, if you've been in advertising, you get a lot, or any sales, you get a lot of no's. You just can't give up because you get one or two. You keep asking until you hopefully get a yes. And you ask enough times, and you will get enough yeses to make a difference. And so I believe that I have that knack and that patience to continue to develop relationships and continue to tell people about the importance of donating to the Housing Foundation or giving to RPAC, whatever it is. And just 2 days ago, we were raising money for our local foundation, which is called the Realtor Giving Network here at RRAR. And we were able to give two $30,000 grants to local nonprofits because we have grown the Giving Network, and as I said, it used to be called the Realtor Foundation of Wake County, to where we are raising $200,000 and $300,000 a year that we are able to give out in grants to those organizations that have applied, just like the Housing Foundation has given out so much money over the years to various causes to help various people in need. And I don't think our average member of my association or our state association realizes all the good work that these nonprofit foundations and organizations like the Giving Network, some of the other associations in the state have something similar, and we do so much good work, but there's still so much work that needs to be done. There's still so many people in need. As strong as North Carolina is, there are still a lot of people that don't have an air conditioner when it's 90 degrees outside or 100 degrees outside, and or they need help buying that first home, or they need someone to go in and help fix their home because they have windows that are broken, or flooring, or they're handicapped and they need a ramp so that they can get in their front door. I mean, there's just so many ways that we reach out. And we started a few years ago the NC Realtors Gives Back Day, and then it became a Gives Back Week, and NAR took our idea and made it a national campaign that takes place. It's either taking place in June or September. It's varied, but it's always a time when our members around the state can concentrate their efforts and do great work, whether it's picking up trash along the beach or it's whatever. It's just giving back to your community, helping to make your community safer, nicer. And to me, that's part of what it means to be a realtor, is you're not just earning a commission check, you are giving back to your community, or you should. That should be one of your goals as a realtor. It's not just putting money in your pocket. It's helping your clients make an important decision and have a successful transaction, but it's also, as much as you can, to give back to people that maybe don't have a home. Maybe they're living on the street, they're living in a shelter. Maybe they have substance abuse problems. Maybe they've suffered a natural disaster. There's so many ways that we can help. And I'm very proud of our Housing Foundation that we've done such good work over the years. And I'm proud to be a member of the board.
That's one of the reasons I asked that question. And I'm so glad you brought it up, because I don't want people to think that it's something wrong if they don't know. What I want them to do is learn about us. I am proud of this foundation too. And I think you're a tremendous director. And I think, that is one of the things a foundation does. It spreads the good news that it does. It spreads the good work. And so that is one of the reasons I asked that question to the presidents I'm interviewing, because I not only want to learn about them, their president, and their membership, but I want them to know about us as the foundation and me being the director. So that is a great explanation for that question. And I'm glad you brought up you all's foundation that the Raleigh Association have. I have often felt as a director that all the foundations, especially the ones that have their own entity, as like not foundations, all the associations who have their own foundation, we are all like a partnership. If you look at the needs of Raleigh, why wouldn't the Realtors Association feel there may need to be a foundation when it's so great? But the great thing about the NC Realtors Housing Foundation is we cover the whole state, and we can partner with our local foundations through these associations. So I'm so glad you answered that question. But what it leads me into is my next question. When it comes to you all's foundation, and you just mentioned you all gave 30,000, what are some of the community outreach programs or organizations your foundation in Raleigh helps support?
Well, just looking back over the many years that I've been involved with it, we have a program. I mentioned about air conditioners. We have a program that we partner with the city of Raleigh, and we usually buy 30 or more window air conditioning units. And as the city of Raleigh tells us this person could really use one, then the word goes out to our membership. Can you come by the association and pick up an air conditioning unit and take it to this family? And that's one way that we give back to our community. We also
Awesome.
do a number
Awesome.
of things with other organizations like Family Promise, Families Together, CASA. CASA was one of the nonprofits that received that $30,000 grant, and they own their own buildings. They're building a new one, and we're going to be basically a sponsor of one of the floors of the building. And it's going to be where people can come in, and it's not like some of the other nonprofits who have buildings. This is where you can stay for a week, you can stay for years. It depends upon your particular financial situation and your life needs. In the case of some of these others, like Family Promise and Families Together, in addition to CASA, we also go in and we'll help. Basically, we call it a makeover day. We will raise money. In my community here in Raleigh, in our association, it's $2,000, and that pays for getting the furniture and other furnishings. Is everything for things for the bathroom to the bedrooms, the kitchen, light bulbs if they need them, everything that a family might need in an apartment that has become available and is empty. We will go in, we'll be told about it, and we'll pull together a team or an office, and they'll raise the money, and then they will go and help either pick out all the furnishings, or the family that's going to be living there already has, and we just go to basically arrange everything. We put blinds up, and we hang pictures on the wall, and we make up the beds. We a lot of times put the beds together, and we're doing all that so that that family that might have been living on the street, or the husband's living in one shelter and the mom and kids are living in a different shelter, it allows them to all come together as a full family, complete family unit. So not to pat myself, or not me, but our team, our office on the back, but over the years, we've done over 20 of these makeovers at the Jim Allen Group and the Midtown Falls office of Coldwell Banker, Howard Perry, and Walston. And I just found out from our director, Heather Thompson, that we are going to be soon next year, we're going to be doing our 100th makeover. And we are going to be given the honor of being the group that does that 100th makeover, because we've done more than anybody else. But that's not to say that other companies and other people don't do it. Plenty do, and we hope that more will. I'd love to see us doing twice that number over the next few years, because there's still so many people that are in need. And I'm just very proud that our giving network has been able to raise that kind of money, and that we have a grant application program, and people come in and they apply, and we evaluate, and we select sometimes one, sometimes two or three that we feel we can support financially with these grants. And so that event was just 2 nights ago at our headquarters in Cary. And there were probably 100 people in the room, and the people with the nonprofits got up and talked about how that money would be used, and how much they appreciate. I mean, it's a very moving evening of hearing stories about how these organizations are helping people, and how our giving network are able to allow them to do more. Just like the Housing Foundation, with its matching grants, up to $4,000 twice a year, can go to any association that goes through the application process and shows how they would spend the money, and if they qualify, they can get up to $4,000. It's not always 4,000, because they don't always need 4,000, but it's up to that.
Yes.
And we've given away a lot of matching grants over the years, and that allows the local associations, again, to do great work in their communities.
Yes.
And there are just so many ways that our 55,000 members don't fully know about and appreciate what our Housing Foundation does to represent them in such a positive way by reaching out to those in need and helping out.
I think that's an awesome answer. And I think you are doing some really great work at the Raleigh Regional Association. Um, and I love that you all do your organization. They are one of the ones who always applies for our matching grants to help out local associations. And so I really think we appreciate that and value that, because that's what we're here to do, is make a difference in home ownership and things of people of North Carolinians. My last question I always ask is not on there, but it's kind of a fun question. So when it comes to the seasons changing and us going into fall and winter, what is something that lets Tim know, like, hey, the holidays are coming, or the fall or the winter is here? What is that one thing that gets you in that mood of, transitioning from the summer going into fall and winter?
That's a good question. Well, I can think of a few things. When my kids ask me what I want for Christmas is one thing. That tells me that it's coming up because they're always wanting to know what do I want. And the answer is usually I don't need anything, a
Mhm.
tie, a
You sound like
belt,
my
a new
mom.
shirt, just something simple. We're so blessed. I guess seeing all the leaves falling on my yard. I just had some people out there blowing leaves today,
Mhm.
and we have big oak trees in our yard, both the front and back, so we get a lot of leaves. And just seeing all those flying, when the wind blows,
Mhm.
it's the changing of the season. When you see those beautiful colors, we
Mhm.
don't quite the colors you do in the mountains of North Carolina here in Raleigh, but you still get some pretty colors, and that kind of tells me that it's you know the time of year. And of course, when we start playing college football, that also tells me, I'm a Georgia Bulldog through and through, and we're going for our third national championship. And if we make it to that championship game, I've already told my wife I'm going to Houston. I'm going to that game.
I know
I
that's
missed the
right. We
last
say,
two.
I will be there. I will be
That's
there.
right. I will be there.
Tim, I want to thank you so much for doing this interview with me. Like I said, you are a great leader. You're such an amazing director for our foundation. I don't think Raleigh could have a better president for 2024. And so I really want to thank you for this and just say I really appreciate you for taking the time to speak with me.
It's my pleasure, Kentia, and I will say that we are very lucky to have you helping us at the foundation. Your heart is 150% into what you do, and your desire to help people and to help us as directors to do the best job we can is very, very much appreciated. So
I
thank you.
appreciate that so much, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you. And happy Thanksgiving.
How happy thank you. We'll see each
All
other
right.
again soon, though.
Yes,
Talk to you
that
soon.
we will. All right. Bye-bye.